for this day and these leaders. God, I thank you for the work that's represented on this call, the ministry that's happening, the way the gospel's being advanced and people are being reached. Lord, I just pray that you would speak to us today. We're all in different places, so speak to us individually and just encourage us and challenge us with this material today. Bless Heather as she shares, and we just commit this time to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. We do have a sponsor, and for all of this quarter, we know Bob Brown is one of the best lawyers for nonprofit law. So if you have any desire or need for getting a good lawyer, if Bob doesn't help you, he's got a network of people who can. So he's been a great partner with Venture 19, and even some of you got connected to us because you were talking to Bob, and he said, "Hey, you need to talk to this group." So we want to just thank him and be appreciative of the work that he does for a lot of our nonprofits, really helpful to us. So he's the one sponsoring all of our quarter training right now. So we're grateful for him. This topic that we're talking about, building your email base, the reason this kind of came up was because so many organizations are realizing how significant email is. And we'll even look at some of the stats for that quickly, that we said we got to pull this together because there's so many great ideas out there, and sometimes we get stuck. And so when we start thinking about our email group and a listing of people in our email, one of the things that really helps you focus in building that list is really identifying your audience. And that means you want to think through, who is it that's the type of person that would be most likely to support your organization and get involved. And this doesn't have to be a complicated process. You want to just consider, what's a great fit for your organization. Sometimes it's helpful to look at your current people. What makes them a great fit? And so if you consider who those people are, what are they interested in, you'll start to identify characteristics, qualities, patterns that will help you be able to identify and attract more of those type of people. Here's a few of those considerations that you might want to think about. And I think this is a great activity as you try to put this practice of this list in place, is to pick which ones of them might be more helpful for you, is to look for, what are the types of interests and values that people are passionate about? What causes would they care about? I mean, if you're a food bank, then if people care about food security, that's really critical. If you're working with people that are, have disabilities, then you have to really say, what motivates their giving? So think about that in light of who the people you're trying to get to your email, to be on your list so you can engage them. What about demographics? So there's certain ages, income brackets, locations, education, all these different things. Are there certain groups of people that they're more likely to be interested? Is it retirees? Is it a younger generation? So consider that when you think about, who do you want to bring on your email list. Also, giving habits. So if you want them to be people that are, if you're looking to get more people that are giving annually or monthly, or if you're trying to get people at the end of the year, what are you looking for? So think about that as you consider what you want to do to grow your email list. And that last one, communication preferences. Where are the people that you want to find? Where do they hang out? Do they prefer email? Do you find them on social media? Are they people that will show up at an event at certain places? So think about those kinds of things to identify, what is the type of person you really want to attract. Just building a huge list isn't always the most helpful, because you really want to attract the people that are going to be most likely to support your nonprofit mission and the vision that you have, the reason that you exist, the great work that you're doing. So with that in mind, let's jump into these 50 ways, because we aren't even going to take 50 minutes to hit all 50 ways, because that would be too much. To start out with, I thought, let's just jump with the basic things that are absolutely free. And I would say the majority of these 50 are going to be easy ways, free things to do. And starting with your website. Most people have a website. Do you have an opt-in place for people to be able to sign up for your impact update, aka newsletter? I just say, don't call it a newsletter, because really nobody wants to read a newsletter, because we think they're long. But what you want to do is you want to show people what it is that you're doing, the impact that you're making. So do you have an opt-in? When you add an impact update, can you put a pop-up on your website that catches people attention? That's another way that you can get people to sign up. Or I love this idea, sticky top or bottom bar on your website that keeps updates and signups right in front of people at all times. That says it's a priority for you. All right, jumping to your donation page. What does it look like to optimize your page and include a checkbox for your update on when people sign up to give a gift? That's a natural way to get people to get their emails if you're already not collecting them with your donors. And then you can always have, this is one of my faves, that use your email signature to include a call to action for people to sign up and hear about the great work that you're doing. And there's just one example of an organization that is using this. And this is just an individual who's supporting nonprofits. But she says in her signature bottom, we solve the problem of how you'll get the money that you need to run your nonprofit so you can change more lives. Click here to get started. So that's just a call to action included in every email signature. Some simple ways to be able to just get your email signature and subscription sign up in front of people. I don't know if you have a blog, but blogs are a great way to be able to get a wider group of people. So if you need to create a blog that people can subscribe to, that's one way to get emails. You can add an embedded sign up on your blog posts where people can literally use that to connect. And also using the idea of guest blogging. Maybe you aren't going to write a blog, or maybe you do, but you can be a guest blog for another organization. And in that blog, you can put a call to action to have people sign up to get more information about the work you're doing. So being a guest blogger, or if you feature outside guests that are contributing to you, you can ask those outside guests to your blog to share your information and sign up with their audiences, invite them to subscribe. So it's really widening the potential in your email base. So blogging is a great way to do that. And then here's another one that's really critical. Statistically, the majority of emails that are being displayed on mobile devices. So when people read your emails, I think it's 53% of emails are being opened on a mobile device. So that means that when you send things out, you want to optimize your sign up for a mobile device, a much smaller device. So think about what that would look like and make sure that the email, if it displays poorly on a device, no matter how good your content is, no matter if you have great images, that it's likely to be deleted under 3 seconds. And so that means that as many as 15% of the people will actually unsubscribe immediately if they can't read it on their mobile device. So really important to consider that when you put information out there in email, that you have it optimized for mobile users. As we jump into this and we're going to throw all these ideas out, one of the things I hear people say is, gosh, if we did all these things or we did half of these things, we're going to overwhelm people. But what we're hearing out there and what we know to be true, all of us have said this, it takes a lot of times for someone to hear something before they actually take action. 7 to 14 times if someone hears it and sees it. So if we're not nagging people, but we're opening the door of opportunity so they don't have to try to go hunt for the one time you invited them to sign up when they first signed up. You want to keep it in front of people. So don't forget, you can keep repeating it because they need to see it over and over before they likely will take action. It's not just about donating, it's about taking action at all. All right, here's a number of social media strategies. So you can add a subscribe link button to your Instagram, your Facebook, your LinkedIn profile, any of your social media places. Just make sure there's a way for people to sign up in your bio, in your profile, in some way where they can go on and get more information, follow you, and even then subscribe to getting your updates. Use the social media post to invite people to subscribe. So if it takes 7 to 14 times, you might want to think about what's the right rhythm of how often do we want to invite people in our social media to subscribe to our updates. Because if you share a great story or a great image, people get excited. That's a time to follow it up right away with an invitation. This is a great idea. If you don't do it already, many times you can pin some of your best posts to the top of your social media so people can see it. And you can always pin an invitation to subscribe to your updates. So think about that. What kind of an up thing would you want to pin so that people could see it at the very top of your social media streams? Posting testimonials from email subscribers. I don't know if you ever thought about that, but sometimes you can ask an email subscriber, people that are your raving fans, why do you subscribe, and get a good testimony, and then post that testimony with an invitation. So use your subscribers to attract more subscribers. Going live on social media with any kind of incentive. So if you go live, people know you're there, and then incentive for male subscribers. We're going to talk more about incentives to look at that, but going live makes sure you right there in person. Run a social media contest requiring email addresses. So that's more of an exchange. So if you give a contest to do something, it's a great way to get people. Or giveaways. Social media people do like giveaways. A lot of times they don't trust them. So you just need to make sure that what you're giving away you can handle, because there's a large group of people out there. But if they require an email address, then now you're getting something for what you're giving. Share a story or image and then invite them. I kind of touched that one before, but if you share something and then you invite them to learn more, always make sure that you're requiring an email address, some contact information so that you can follow up with them. That's the hardest part about social media, is that unless you get people to exchange that more information for email, you typically have a hard time bringing them into your email list. So think about how you can do that. Great different ideas. Now, I highlighted this because this is a big one, and you can use this in a lot of different contexts. But create a referral program. So referral programs basically says you want to incentivize your existing email subscribers, ministry partners, volunteers, staff, everybody, even your board, to refer people to expand your reach so that they join your email list. So in a referral program, you're basically trying to create some kind of an incentive that gets people to invite other people to do it. So whether it's to invite one person or invite 3 to 5 people to give you, you can use an exchange and say, for your first person you do, we're going to give you a hat. One of our favorite swags is a hat. Everyone wants one of our Hope hats. So you're going to give one to anyone that refers someone to your email list. Or maybe you say you have to have 10. But here's a group, I put it on this slide and you'll get that. Referral Rock, they've got a free guide on how to create a good referral program. So if this is something you're thinking, maybe this is a good idea for us, because we got a lot of raving fans that are willing and wanting to share, but we're not sure how to do it. They've got some great ideas and tools to figure out how to do that. All right, lead magnets. Another one of my personal favorites is a lead magnet. How many of you use lead magnets? In the chat, if you do, say yes. And then give us an example of one of your lead magnets you feel like has been really effective. And so for those of us that maybe have never heard of a lead magnet and you're looking at those two magnets and going, what on earth is she talking about? Well, a lead magnet is just simply, it's a free resource, something that's valuable and free, an enticing thing that says we are attracting people to give them something for free in exchange for their contact information. So it's creating a lead. In the business, in the consumer world, you're always looking for new leads. And so a lead magnet is you're exchanging, you're saying, hey, we're going to give you something in exchange for you giving us your contact information. And that is where the lead magnet begins to grow. So, Jonathan, were there any exciting, I can't switch over in this new system to see the chat. So any good chats of a good idea for lead magnets?
No, nothing for lead magnets. Is everyone's chat working okay? I'm having a little problem with mine, but do you guys have access to the chat box? Okay, good. No, nothing in there about lead magnets. So I would say keep at it.
Well, I love using the audience to go, if you have a great idea, throw it into the chat, whether I see it and highlight it or Jonathan highlights it. It's great to share amongst ourselves in this little lunch and learn, because we want to learn from each other as well. But a lead magnet is something that's going to engage your target audience. It's an enticing offer, something that goes, hey, I want to do that. I want to know that. And the key really is to attract the right people. So you're thinking, what would the people that I want to attract, what would they want to know or want to have that we might have? So once you capture their attention, then you start to go, how do we nurture that relationship to get them engaged? So you put them in your email list, you figure out how to connect with them, and you start to build that relationship with them. So here's a few examples of an appealing exchange. You could write an ebook. Some of you have little ebooks on topics you're experts in. I know a group that's focused on caregivers, and they have developed a little guide to caregiving. You could offer that to people in exchange for their email. And these aren't necessarily the people that are already in your network. Remember, you're looking for target audience to expand your email list. So offering an ebook, a white paper, something you have an area of an expertise in, it doesn't have to be long. It can be something very short to do that. Jonathan, you could use your leadership little booklet that you wrote as a free ebook and as a lead magnet for people to learn about leadership.
Yep.
So there's an option for us at Venture 19. A free article, maybe you've written one or there's a favorite article you have, something people would be interested in. Lessons learned. This is a great one for people that if you're in an organization where you have a founder that's kind of seen as a sage that people trust and know, and it's like lessons learned in how to start a food bank, lessons learned in, pick your area of expertise in working with foster children, lessons learned with helping boys grow up and learn something, something that you could do, like, or a tip sheet, something similar to that. We know one of our organizations, they used a pop-up that was an infographic that was talking about homelessness. And so they get exchanged, they download it in exchange for their email. A consultation. So you might not even actually give them something in the moment. You say free consultation. I know one of our organizations is doing that, saying, here's a free consultation for your family members that are aging out if you give us your email. Now that could explode your calendar, so think about how you would want to use it, but that's an option. A cause quiz. So you could ask people, you could take statistics that offer a 5, 6, 10 question quiz that people could take to see how much information they know and if it's accurate or not, in exchange for their email. A discount code for swag. Now there's something you might speak to people and go, oh, I want that hat. You've got that Hope hat. And so if you offer a discount code in exchange for their email, that gives you an option. A free course, a guide or a template of how to do something, a case study, a cookbook. You might go, what? Well, this is one that sucked me in. There's an organization I didn't know anything about. It's not even faith-based, but I saw it because I was going through a training that was on lead magnets, and they highlighted this organization that had partnered with a chef that was an Ethiopian chef here in the United States that's well known. And they talked to that chef and they got that chef to give them 5 recipes, and they put it together with beautiful graphics, and they offer it as a lead magnet for anyone who gives their email. You can get this little recipe book, 5 recipes from this famous chef of Ethiopian foods. So it was a very creative way. Even a flip picture book. If you want to know about flip picture books, I'm not sure if Marissa is on here, but she's the queen of flip books and she knows how to do them. You can get her with the Soul Care Journey. And that's a great way to get someone new. But be creative, have fun. What would attract your target audience? And if you give them this option to download it, you can do it on social media, you can do it with your volunteer, you can do it in every context. Lead magnets are one of the best ways to get more people in your email. So that's why I highlighted it and talked about it so much. All right, number 21. So we're not even halfway there. This is all about during an event or in-person activities. In the event, when people are registering, make sure you get emails. Not everyone does get emails. Sometimes you're getting addresses, sometimes getting phone numbers. Make sure you get emails of everyone that comes into one of your events. Don't miss that opportunity, because if they're going to come to your event, they're interested in it. If you host an open house on site, or if you have a gathering, make sure you gather emails there as well. Don't hesitate. People are used to giving their emails. So you're exchanging an experience. Sign up, register, show up, collect emails. Again, for site tours, if you have people coming to your facility and doing a site tour, make sure to get their email. Always carry an email sign up. If you're going to an event, to a conference, somewhere where you're going to be public, you might be going to, even just a luncheon place where you're going to be meeting with a lot of people, have a place where people could just give you their email, even if it's an exchange of e-cards on your phone, where you can sign up and you can encourage people to learn more. Distribute flyers. Somebody I know had a business card that had a QR code on the backside to sign up and learn more about the great work and the updates of what we're doing. So, using something that you carry with you all the time in an in person event. Use text to subscribe. A lot of people are moving to this, is getting a text to subscribe thing. I've seen CRMs that are now offering text to give. You can also do text to subscribe, and it's a little less intimidating to say, learn more about these great things that we're doing. So look at that as an option. Number 27, include an opt in checkbox. And this is on your paper information. So if you have an event and you have one of those forms people are filling out, don't forget to have a checkbox for getting updates in there, and always include email on any kind of form that you're having people fill out. So don't forget email. I know it can happen easily, but just double check, keep that in the back of your mind. Now, what about through partners? When you think about partners, we're talking about partnerships with other organizations maybe you work alongside of, ministry partners, businesses that are partnering with you, even people maybe that are gift in kind people. How can you use these relationships that are really valued to be able to even expand your network or mutually help them expand theirs? So, 28, collaborate with them and share email lists. Now, some people were willing to do this, some people might not, but if you have a lot of commonality, it might really benefit you to do that. And more organizations are seeing that when we collaborate together, we can do more great work. We're not competition, but we can share. Encourage partner organizations and businesses to share your impact update sign up link in their networks. So if it's an easy way for people to get involved before they actually give to you, it's just telling those people that say, hey, we're in relationship, share, hey, learn more about us and get an email sign up to learn more. If you're speaking to an affinity group at a lunch or conference, I kind of touched this in the last one, but make sure to promote your email list, whether it's on a screen up front with a QR code, with a sign up at a table, with you carrying a sign up, whatever way, promote, promote, promote. Leverage local businesses that to display your QR codes. How many times have we gone into coffee shops, even Petco? There's all places you see different places where they're advertising. Have a flyer that you can go and you can put that in those places where you frequent or they care about what you're doing, and make sure that it links to your subscription sign up page. Learn more about us, hear about the great work we're doing. Ask your board members, volunteers, and staff to promote your impact signups. And I'm going to dig into that in just a minute. So, those are some of the ideas of how you can engage your partners. Here's another one really wanted to highlight. Number 33, offer an exclusive content only for subscribers. So this is different from a lead magnet in that a lead magnet gets, you're going to give something in exchange for their email. But now you're saying we're going to give exclusive content only to those people that are on our email list. So you're not offering it up front, but you're saying, hey, I want to make this accessible to everybody. And you think, this can work for even when you're talking to a stranger. You say, hey, how you come and see us, be the first to know about this. If you're in our email list, you're going to be the first to hear about it. And again, I'm highlighting that same Ethiopia group because they really worked on how to grow their list. And one of the things they did is they said, you're going to get great stories and you're going to see photos once a month and hear about the work that you care about in Ethiopia. Plus, every Friday, you're going to get our fan favorite Friday photo. And they have fantastic photos. And I don't support this group, but I love their photos. They're very creative. And I'm still on their list more than a year later because I love their photos. And so it's one of the exclusive pieces of content you get. Here's some other ideas of exclusive content: special meetings with key leaders. So maybe your people that are on your email list get to meet once a quarter, once a year with your CEO in an online meeting. Insider stories that nobody else gets, but it goes to our email list. Access to a discussion group or a special community. People love community. That's an area that's growing in people's interests. Is I can be a part of a community. I can hear behind the scenes staff updates. So it's kind of learning about what's going on with staff. Love this, kind of highlighted it with the pictures from the Roots group, but artwork or ministry pictures or printable posters that people can print. For some of you, you've got banners and posters. Why not make that accessible to your subscription group? They can download it and have one of those posters that you already have the electronic version of. Could be special merchandise or materials or a discount code, like we said. One group that I signed up for, they actually sent me then in the mail. They said, "Welcome to our family." And I got just a little sticker that had their logo on it. It was really simple. I mean, what does a sticker cost? It's cents. But now I'm promoting them wherever I go because I have a water glass that has a whole bunch of those stickers on it from different organizations that I support and value. Um, Early access to an event. That's a great way, exclusive content. Digital resource packet. You can, only people that are on our subscription have access to that. So it's not just a one time, but you always get it. How to instructions or prayer guides. I've seen people do exclusive content that says, here's how to pray for the people that we're a part of. So those are kind of some fun ideas. I touched on this through volunteers, but I wanted to go a little deeper. Here are a number of ways, 8 different ways through your volunteers that you could really grow your email list. Number one, when you first bring on a new volunteer, use an opt-in opportunity right in that moment when they first become a volunteer to subscribe to your impact updates. That you're kind of hitting the iron when it's hot because they're interested, they're showing up, they're signing up. Sign them up for your emails updates. Include pictures of volunteers in your updates. There's nothing like seeing yourself, seeing your friends, something that you've been involved with in an update, and then they tell them to promote that update with the others that they want to share, family and friends. Give volunteers a heads up and early access to updates. So you might tell all your volunteers when they show up one day, hey, we're going to have an update and we've got pictures of the last event that a lot of you are in. So that gives them an opportunity and have a way for them to sign up. Or maybe you incentivize them once a quarter. So that's number 30 said, give them some kind of incentive to sign up to your emails. 38, now you're asking them to take the next step. Ask them to share the updates with family and friends and encourage them to subscribe. You could incentivize that as well, depending upon what you want to do, but encourage them now to be the ones to share it. Offer an online course or webinar for only for volunteers that you say, all right, we've got this new course. We're going to do it for all of our volunteers. Ask them to sign up for it. And the sign up requires an email registration. That way gives you everybody that way. Or you can create a bring a friend campaign to a volunteer event and have all their guests sign up and get the emails from all the guests. So those are just a number of different ways. You can be more creative than that. I'm sure you have creative ideas. Now, we're kind of running down the backside of our numbers here when they get into the 40s, but hopefully you have all your donor emails already. If not, make sure you start focusing on collecting those and incentivizing all of your donors to be able to get their emails. But here, what we want to do is we want to encourage donors to be people that are helping you grow your email list. It doesn't mean they have to tell everyone to give. That's a great idea too. But the starting point is just to even get people on your email sign up list. So create a share and the impact update challenge. So start to challenge your donors to share it. Share it with one person, share it with 5 people, share it with 10 people. Take this month and everybody share it with somebody. It's each one, reach one, get signed up more people to see the great work that you as a donor are already involved in. This is one that we saw a group do. It's create a 10-day to make a difference email series that goes to your donors and gives them several opportunities to share the subscription link with other people. So your focus isn't on getting them to give, but your call to action is for them to expand their involvement by getting other people to learn more about you and see the great work you're doing just by signing up to see what you're involved in. So it's a great way to get more people engaged. Number 43, focus on donor impact as an impact update and encourage donors to share it with others and include a subscription link. If you have your annual update, your impact update report, use that with your donors and encourage them to read it and to share it with other people. So always widening that by affirming your donors, look what you've done. And gosh, wouldn't it be fun to share that with people that you would want them to know? We share about movies we go to. Why not about organizations we're passionate about? Use a QR code. Number 44, use a QR code on your annual impact report for people to sign up for more information. So if your impact report is on your website, a lot of people will go on, foundations will go on, potential donors will go on and look at that. And if you have a way to sign up there, that could bring some in. And then number 45, include forward to a friend CTAs in your thank you emails. So they've given a gift. Now you're thanking them. That's an opportunity. You're not asking them to give more. You're just saying, forward to a friend what you just got excited about and encourage them to learn more about this great work that we're doing. So you're not asking for more, but learning to use donors in a way that isn't just saying, now donate again, but calls to action that allow them to share with other people, get people to sign up to learn more. It's a great way to engage your donors. And there's even more ideas, on peer-to-peer campaigns. You can collect emails on opt-ins. There's so many different creative ways you can engage your donors. I'd encourage you to kind of sit down with your team, do a brainstorm of how can we utilize our donors to expand our email list, not just to expand our donations, but our email list. That's an easy next step for donors. All right. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about a few paid types of strategies. So you can pay for a chatbot to collect email addresses. There's ways that you can go out there and get more email addresses of people that would be interested in things like what you're doing. And that's a paid activity. You can use analytics like Google Analytics services and different analytic groups to track and optimize your website visitations in order to gather more email addresses. So there's services out there that'll help you do this. You can run paid ads on social media. That's a way that a lot of people do get email addresses. You're not necessarily trying to get donations, but you're just trying to find out who are the people that on our social media are interested. Now, how do we then get email addresses? And they utilize some things we've talked about, where you're incentivizing people, you're using a lead magnet, you're using, different kinds of special resources that people can get that as well. But a paid ad will help as well. Collecting emails at a conference, because if you have an exhibit booth, you have to pay for that, but that's a way to get in front of a lot of people. And you can use a lot of these other things, incentives of, a lot of people use raffles to be able to get people. That's an exchange of, we will put you in a raffle if you give us your email information. So that's another way to get people to do that as well. So those are some ways you can invest in money in order to grow your email list. And number 50, not least, but last, storytelling. The purposeful, compelling, life transforming stories of real people are truly one of the most inspirational ways to get people to take action and to want to know more. The whole movie industry exploded when they started going into real stories of real people. And they usually tell the story of one, not the story of a bunch of people. When you go out there and you're watching, the most recent one, we know you've got different people. We go to a movie to see what's the real life story of this person. So when you are promoting your email lists and signups for that, use a story as a teaser and say, you're going to see more, hear more, and be inspired by more stories like this on a regular basis. And who doesn't need an IV drip of good stories of a good world? Because we are pretty dehydrated in our world of good stories. We're exhausted by all the things that we hear, whether it's rioting or all the different conflicts that are out there. We want to hear good stories. So use some of your impacting stories to tease people to say, we want to share more of these with you. Sign up on our email. So, and then deliver on that so that those stories will be emotion packed. It will be motivational, inspiring, because this is so true. That when you look at a story, there's no form of communication that's more powerful, inspirational, memorable, that takes people to say, I care about this, it touched me, and therefore I want to connect to this group, than a good old-fashioned story of life change. So use those stories. That's going to draw people in a lot of these different ways. And then I'm going to say, did we miss anything? So Jonathan, when you look at the chat, I don't know if anyone jumped in and said, yeah, we do some of these. We got a great idea. Is there anything that we missed that you have a great idea of how to get more people on your email than these 50 ideas we just went through? Anyone?
Today is an epic class for Venture 19. This may be the quietest online session we've ever had when it comes to the chat box. That's okay. Hey, you know what? Go ahead and unmute yourselves if you'd like and answer this question. Yeah, something that you have used or you are using that helps to build your email address that maybe the rest of us can learn from. And then fire away with any other questions that you might have or some comments that you want to make. So go for it. Jim
And
just
this is,
said we're speechless because of Heather's content. That's why the chat box has been
well,
closed.
it's 50. There's a lot. It's
Yes,
like a fire hose, isn't
yeah,
it?
a lot of stuff there for sure. So yeah, what are you using to build your email list? Something that maybe Heather didn't talk about, or maybe something that she did that you would just say, yeah, that's worked great for us.
Yeah,
Fire away.
magnify it. Anyone bold and daring?
So for the food bank, I am not sure what they use for capturing email addresses. I do know for the Vista Center for the Arts Foundation, as you pointed out, Heather, we utilized raffles. So when we had opportunities of promoting a underselling show, we provided free tickets, but they would have to scan a QR code and then enter their information. And from that, we used a drawing, and we garnered quite a few thousand emails that way. And
Yep.
that worked out so much easier than filling out because you had it in a Google Docs and you can then transfer that information. If they typed it in incorrectly, that was on them as compared to us trying to decipher what they wrote.
Yeah, that's good. Electronic does help. Anything you can do automated, that is going to be gold. Make it easy for you. Thanks, John, for sharing that. It's a good example. Anyone else? If And feel free, you can jump in. I'm going to stop at the end. We still have a little bit of time, but I did want to say this is so now that you get people on your email list, that's the beginning. That's the starting place. Let's widen and let's get exchange for emails. But then once you get them, how are you going to keep them? So this is what they say about getting an email list, a name, is that new subscribers are going to give you about 3 emails before they decide if they're going to unsubscribe or not. So if you got their email, now that's not a lot of time, but you want to be intentional to say, how are we going to respond to the new emails that we get? And if you think back at, your email lists and what you've unsubscribed from, think about the timing maybe that you had. It's like, what was it that they were doing or not doing that kept you there? As I gave that one example about roots from Ethiopia, because I got the cookbook, which I actually have never cooked anything from it, but I did look at it, and I get regular pictures, and I get a good story once in a while. And so those things have kept me on their list. I didn't unsubscribe. So think about what that is. What's the common reason that people unsubscribe from things? Number one is frequency. If you give your email and you get bombarded right away, people will unsubscribe. So think about what's the timing? How much do you want to say? If you don't say anything after you give your email, then people forget they even gave you their email, and then a lot of times they'll unsubscribe. So there's a balance of something you want to get in their email box right away, but something of value that's going to connect to why they gave you their email, and that you want to then be intentional about how you engage them. And that leads to this idea of thanking people. You can even thank them for giving you an email. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for caring about things we care about. Welcome to our community. Everyone loves to feel like they're connected to something. So learning to welcome people and make your community this sense that we're a part of something really significant, and then finding ways to engage. And that whole process of engagement, we love to talk about a welcome series. Or an engagement plan that you have for the next 30 days or 60 days. As I said, you have 3 emails for people to look at and go, does this fit me? If people like us do things like this, what are you going to say in your next 3 emails that's going to help them get to know you and what you're about, and if they're going to continue to connect to you? So you want to be very intentional about what those next 3 emails are once you get an email from somebody. And let me just say this. This is why we're talking about this today, because email messaging resulted in 11% of the total online giving for last year. And you might be wondering what that total giving is, and I will tell you shortly. But 72% of new subscribers, they actually expect a welcome email once they've given you their email address. So it's interesting that they expect it. And they're also saying that within 3 emails, people decide if they subscribe or unsubscribe. So they're looking for that. So it's one thing to give a strategy to get a bunch of people the email, but now you need to at least think about 3 emails that are going to help people connect to you. And these email message have an average of 202% higher open rate than a traditional email campaign. Okay, that tells you their level of expectancy. They gave you their email. Now they're wanting to know what you do, and they look at them. 202%. That is a high increased time period that says you've got their attention. So this is the right time to give them information about who you are. I love that stat. 33% of the donors say that email is the tool that most inspires them to give, followed by 29% via social media, 17% via your website, and 9% via your direct mail appeals. So email is effective. So getting emails matters, and that's how people want to be inspired. So they're kind of expecting you, once they give you an email, to pitch them, but not right away, but to do it in a way that says, does what I care about match what you're doing? And if what I care about in the way you communicate with me in these first 3 emails and going on, I will continue to engage with you. 48% of donors cite the email as their preferred method of hearing updates and receiving appeals, followed by 17% of direct mail. So they want to actually hear your updates via email. And the very least is through phone calls. They don't want a phone call to get an update. Phone calls they like for thank yous, but not really for updates. So email matters. And let me go back to this 11% here. When we say, is it worth looking at these 50 ways and trying to grow your email? That's a great question, because John just gave one example of one that gave thousands. So if you have an intentional way you work at this and you find that one, I would say, yes, it's absolutely worth it, because when we talk about what was given, this is total stats for charities in the US. In 2023, it was $55.7 billion. Look at the jump in 2024. Total charity giving, 370, I can't even say, 370 billion. Those are so many zeros, we don't even know what to do with. But what that means is that if you take that and you say 11% is from individuals who donate, that is $44.4 billion from just online giving. That's a lot of money that is coming through email online giving. And so when you think about that amount, I'm going to go down now I'm doing all the math for you, so you don't have to figure it out. That means from the 11% of online giving, that was that 44.4, $4.8 billion comes through email messaging. So getting people's emails absolutely is a viable, lucrative way to get people interested and begin to donate and engage in your organization. So you think about that when you're thinking about these strategies. 50, you don't need 50. Pick 1 or 2. What is it that you need to do? And it's really critical that once you get emails, that you have this good email etiquette that says you got to keep your list clean. You got to make sure you honor unsubscribes, that you keep your frequency manageable. You use the 3-to-1 ratio. What does that mean? 3-to-1. That means 3 emails and only 1 ask. So you're giving updates, you're telling stories, you're doing all kinds of other things, giving information to people about the cause that you have for every 1 ask, and that you use visuals, you listen to people. If they give you input, feedback, you're listening to what people are saying. You keep your content fresh and you're personable, maybe even a little bit informal. That is the norm for email nowadays, is we don't really need the really fancy ways. So back to what Jonathan started to open that up is what are you taking away for today? What is your 2 ideas that you want to take away from the 50 list? Maybe something jumped out. Or the question is, what's 1 idea that you're likely going to try from the 50 that we just presented today? Anyone want to jump in and share your ideas?
Yeah, as they're thinking about that for just a second, Christy weighed in and said that they recently switched from MailChimp to Flowdesk, as an email platform. Christy, do you just want to say a quick word about that in case people have not heard of Flowdesk?
Sure. Hi everybody. Flowdesk, yeah, it's very simple. There are a lot of templates and just very user friendly. And yeah, it's been easy to set up the automations so that you can decide what you want that welcome sequence to be, and then set it up and it'll just do it for you. So we've found that really helpful.
Great.
Love that.
Yeah,
Thanks,
excellent. So
Christy.
maybe a new resource
Is there a
for
cost?
some of you.
Yeah, is there a cost associated with that?
For us, it's been a fraction of what MailChimp was. I think there's definitely a free option that you can start with, but I don't know, if there's where the threshold is when it stops becoming free. But when it does stop becoming free, it's like still quite reasonable per month.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank
Thanks for
you,
sharing
Christy.
that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
again, maybe something that some folks want to look into. So yeah, some other takeaways. Something that you really said, you know what, that's for us. We got to start doing something like that, or just one idea of something that you're going to try to implement. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
I like the recommendation with the flow of information. I think of an organization that my wife helps with specifically, where I am barraged with emails, and looking at that as a tool that has been overused, and maybe for that current flow of updates, migrating people who want that to social media for that updated information, and having your email information more more intimate, I guess, and personable as compared to just the overwhelming barrage of emails every week or every 2 weeks.
Yeah, the timing of emails is really important, especially when someone is new to your list. And that's why having a good workflow and automation for your series is helpful, because you can slow that down for particularly brand new people to get engaged and to see. But if you overwhelm someone, that's one of the fastest ways people will unsubscribe, is it's too much or it's not the right stuff.
Yeah. And Heather, the other thing I think that when you were going through the numbers there, the dollars, and I put this in the chat, a lot of people are beginning to think that email is a lot less effective than it's been. And really the stats and the numbers show different than that. So still very much an effective tool, and something that we need to continue to figure out. Heather, I guess I have another question before we let folks go. Maybe I should just poll the audience. If Venture 19 put out a cookbook of our best recipes, would anybody order that? My section would be very, very small. I don't know about Heather's and Victoria's, but mine would be just a few
They would
basics. So.
they would love it if we include a picture with you with your apron on, flipping a burger, and me with the cook's hat, and
Oh.
Victoria with her husband, who is more of the chef than
That's true.
Jonathan and
That's
I
true.
put together.
That's true.
But
That's
yeah,
true.
and if we narrow it down to the top 5, they might actually trust it. Who knows?
Yes, absolutely nobody put in the chat that yes, they would purchase that. So I'm going to take that as
Christy did. She just did.
Oh, she just did. I'll give my email address. Okay, if it includes a cook from
Yes,
Kate.
right on,
Okay.
Kate. I agree.
Oh,
And
well,
I would
good.
say, Jonathan, one more thought on that idea is there's a ministry called Field in Faith. And the guy who leads that is a chef. And one of the things he did in order to get new donors is he had a raffle of a night where he would cook for whoever wins the raffle. And he got a ton of people to
That's
sign
great.
up that way, because he used one of his gifts and skills to attract people. So that's another freebie, throwing that out there.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, Jim, Kraft macaroni and cheese in the box. How to take that and make it the next level.
Next level?
I could
Yeah.
do next level by shaving some Parmesan over the top and then crisping it or something.
yeah, I would even struggle with that. And John Wood has made his position very clear. He will not be purchasing the Venture 19 cookbook. So, well,
we already
everybody,
have your email, John, so we don't need it.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So great to have you guys with us today. Heavenly Father, thank you so much again for just this time where we can gather together and share ideas and insights. God, I mentioned it in the chat. I pray that we wouldn't feel overwhelmed in any way, but just continue to wrestle and think about that question of what one or two or three things do we need to begin to think about and maybe implement as you lead us and guide us. And Father, I just pray that you would bless each leader here in a special way. Just continue to use them in incredible ways. And God, just bless their personal lives in addition to their ministry lives. And I thank you for these few minutes together. And we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for being with us,
Bless you
everybody.
all.
Appreciate it.